Morning, morning all, morning folks. Morning Roxanne. Pauline Buckmeyer, morning to you. Terrence Swan, morning. Desmond Samuel, good morning. And a blessed day to you too. Morning you, Danny. Morning Rookman, Gerald, Pascal Manswell. Morning to you, Serge. Shadley Jimenez, good morning. Morning Rena. Arlene Lewis, morning. Felix Hospitalis, good morning to you. Alberta Sampath, morning. Cyril Mayas, Carol Boyce, John, 123, good morning. Kennedy Joseph, morning to you, sir. And Alison Rogers. Right. Let's see who we have on Facebook. Maria Lyons, morning. Morning, Diane. Good morning to His Excellency, President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Mauricia. Morning, Carol. Kenneth Gabriel, morning to you. See Shell Hadara Lambert, good morning. Ruth Fronton, morning, Ruth. Thank you, Carol. Claire Irish, morning, Claire. Marilyn McAllister, good morning. Alison, morning. Dr. DCA, good morning to you. And the Patriot, good morning. Morning, Dish. Claudette Jeffrey, good morning. Joy George, morning. Turner Wolcott. Henry Amsterdam, good morning to you. Set this thing up here. Right. So, right, let me see which phone connected to that. Always way. Just give me 1 sec here, folks. Let me just send one this on. So let me just see this. Carol Bucco, morning, Carol. Angela Figaro, morning. Morning, Alison. Okay, just get this here. Set this off. It's ridiculous. Right, so who else? Brenda Isaac, morning. Jaden Pulse, 66. Marlene Panton, morning. Kathy Ann Best, good morning to you. I don't know why this thing is doing this morning. Let me try this one. Just give me 1 second, folks. Technology, hell of a thing. Let's see if I have this saved here. No, it's not saved here. All right. Try this one more time. If not, see. Oh, this other place shoot. Yeah. All right. So, couple things for us to touch on this morning, right? Let me get straight into it. Which one to go with first, boy? Should I go with him first? No, I'll go with the leader of the opposition first. So yesterday on I-95.5, I saw Mrs. Prasad Bisesa provided or afforded the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, if we want to put it that way, one of her, what was previously a rare interview on a radio station. As we know, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa never used to do interviews before. The occasional interview that you would get from her is if it is after she delivered her budget speech, well, her contribution to the budget, or after the budget speech. when she would have all the minions around her and she has a few things to say to criticize the budget, and then would take one or two questions from members of the media. Um, but to say you would hear a soundbite from Mrs. Prasad Bisesa being interviewed on a talk show on a radio station was something more or less unheard of. But then within recent times, she seems to be, she has been offering herself for these, to do these interviews. And I listened to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa yesterday. I heard the soundbite on the 12 o'clock news. And I must say, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa sounds like a spent individual. Turn this off. Yeah, she sounds like a spent individual. Tired, frail. I don't know. She sounded like, I don't know if it is she was on medication or if it is she was under the influence, but that's how it sounded to me. I don't know what went on there, but let me just play a little bit of it, because I heard other people, and in fact that was the question that they put out, between 12:30 and 1 thereabouts, so 12:40 something on I-95. They would play like 2 clips from the 2 main stories, and they would invite persons to call in and give commentary on what the topic was. Let me get this here. I don't know why this thing misbehaving today. So.
What you call it? For something. So there are some people there, trolls and detractors. I don't take them on. We had a wonderful event last night, Diwali, and it was, maybe 10 of us was attended. And the constituent was wonderful. So these people are detractors and trolls and so on. I don't take them on. Victims.
She is convinced she has the full support of her colleagues.
You're calling me. You should call them and see if it's true. I don't believe it. I tell all people, up at their rumors. Traction, a third line with traction to make us divided and so on. I don't believe any of those things. I was there all my people sessions, context, councils, everything. If you bring me evidence otherwise, I will recommend it.
Over the past months,
I don't know. She sounded like she did that interview from her bed, like she wasn't well. I'm confused. Well, I'm not confused, but I'm listening to that, and a lot of people said her tongue sounded like it was sounding like her tongue was heavy, her speech was slurred, and I don't know now. I saw on TV6 News last night. I think it was TV6 or CNC3, where she would have attended a Diwali function the night before, and she indicated that her paternal aunt, her father's sister, died, and this was like a mother to her. And she went on and on. If she have a headache, she would go by Tanti, whatever Tanti's name is, I can't remember. And if she's feeling down and she's overwhelmed by the weight of public life, as she often is, she would go by Tanti, whoever. She kept talking about this Tanti, and then she shed some tears. I don't know if it was genuine or crocodile. Well, maybe it was genuine, talking about, Tanti and reminiscing on the time she spent with Tanti and so on. And so I don't know if maybe she is overwhelmed with grief and decided to drown her sorrows in something, cough syrup, I don't know. That would account for. But as I was saying before, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa doesn't normally give interviews. And the question was surrounding this claim that there is a palace coup, that persons within the UNC are planning to overthrow Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. We know that is a near impossibility, because for that to happen, it can only happen at the internal election. And the party faithful of the UNC will continue to keep faith with Mrs. Prasad Bisesa no matter what. It doesn't matter how many elections she loses. And it throws my mind back to Rudy Ndarsin a couple of days ago, calling for Marvin Gonzalez to resign based on the TSTT data breach. And he's saying in any other jurisdiction, the minister would have resigned already. Well, I want to tell Rudy, in any other jurisdiction, the leader of the opposition would have resigned since 2015. after she lost that general election, after 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days of supposedly being the best prime minister this country has ever seen, the best government, and all of the work that you all did, the fact that corruption brought that government down, the leader of that party would have resigned. But even if she decided, okay, it was an anomaly, hold on, you lost 2020 general election, you would have resigned. In any other jurisdiction, 2 consecutive electoral losses, the leader would have resigned. But yet still, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has lived to fight another day and expects to fight the 2025 election. And barring poor health, and I mean, well, her health is not of the best right now, but barring poor health preventing her from being able to contest the election, or worse than that she's no longer above ground, and I'm not wishing that on her at all, it seems she is going to be the one who's going to lead that party into the election for 2025. We in the PNM have no problems with that. In fact, we welcome that. We welcome that. So all this coup talk and whatnot, all you leave the woman right where she is. All you could deal with that after 2025. If you all want to keep her there for another 5 years after you lose in 2025 until 2030, when she would be, pushing 80, you'll keep her there, man. Apparently, she, as I said, she aging in reverse. So she gets younger each year, not older, right? So you'll keep her right there, and that is the best leader that you all have ever had, the most successful. The same person who chastised her predecessor about track record, and she itemized all of the elections that he lost, which had worked out about 4. She has surpassed that record, but she is not using the same rationale as to why she should leave. But keep her right there. Now, this thing she says, she doesn't believe it. And it's rumors. And I know they were saying that I had a stroke. And they said that I lost some of my toes. All of that, rumors. Up to now, she didn't show us her foot yet. Yeah? But anyway, every event that she show up to, she have on these long dresses that covering her feet. But okay, they say it's rumor, so it's rumor, right? So Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has known a long time that there is a challenge for her leadership since 2015 when Rudal Munilal challenged her, right, for the leadership, and he lost. He got the licking, the shellacking of his life, and after that, my boy went from lion of Oropuch to the pussycat of Oropuch. And while he talk now. He batted in his crease since 2015 for the last 8 years. After all the things he had to say about her during the campaign, yeah, she has served her time and so on, but the party needs to move on, and in order to heal, the party needs new leadership and all of these things. That was in 2015. 2015, 8 years ago, he was saying all of these things. 8 years on, he changed his mind. The party don't need to heal. They don't need new leadership. They need to continue to endorse Mrs. Prasad Bisesa and pay her obeisance every time I see her. Oh, great leader. I saw they showed snippets of the Diwali event that they had. And she has this brass vessel or whatever it is. And persons were coming up to her and lighting the deer. And I saw Anna Roberts came all decked up in his yellow. Some of them, they take this thing to the extreme, to the extreme. Oh gosh, boy. We know all the parties yellow. Anyway, you and Jayanti, something wrong with all. So he comes and he lights his deer, and then he bows to her and so on. Yet symbolism, very, very important thing. And clearly, you see all of them coming up one by one, light your deer. And it's not enough that in the parliament, when she speaks, after anything she says, if every one of them that gets up afterwards has to say what a wonderful presentation she did and commend her one after the next. They just want to start off their presentation by commending the leader of the opposition, the member for Siparia, for that erudite contribution. And it was so succinct and in-depth and insightful. Everybody. If you don't do that, problems for you. So that was just a repeat. So she was like, for them, night before, Mother Lakshmi, or whoever, Mother whoever, and they just coming up one by one and they taking light from her. And I said, symbolism is very important. You see, in that party, they basically worship Kamala Prasad Bisesa. That is why she is where she is, and she will remain where she is. They could mount whatever challenge. They will be unsuccessful. Because from the leadership of the party come down to the most obscure of members, they worship this lady, calling her, that is the queen, and she's the mother of the nation. That is the Maharani and all of these different things. I never hear nobody call Kid Rowley king. I never heard any PNM person call Kid Rowley the father of the nation. It does not hold then the PNM. We don't do that. There is no worship of Kid Rowley, as people call and say, talk about the good work that the Prime Minister is doing, and people will insist that you call him Dr. Rowley. So the man earned that twice. But to say you're seeing people going and bowing to Dr. Rowley, and them things don't happen. And Dr. Rowley doesn't need these things. Mrs. Pasabi says her feeds off of that. She craves that. Like if she don't get it, she don't feel good. So the power or whatever perks comes with the office is not sufficient for her. She needs to get that adoration that wherever it is she goes and the members are there, look, Kamala, look, Mrs. Bisesa, and all of that sharpness. That's what she likes. That is what she feeds off of. Yeah? And they continue to give it to her. So that if it is you say anything that is deemed to be disrespectful to Mrs. Prasad Visesa, they're ready to kill you. They want to cuss you out. I saw this one I mentioned a couple of days ago who goes by the name Doggy Dog. I think it's Ravi Maraj or something. So his sister, Asha Samaru, who gained fame by claiming that she was sexually abused by members of her family, her uncle, and so on, and was called out. And he went on a tirade a couple of days ago against Juliet Davy, the most filthy, nasty, disgusting video. Had the nastiest of things to say about Juliet because he, as he claims, he's a taxi driver. I don't know if it's PH or H or whatever. He was going through radio channel stations and he came upon Juliet. And I don't believe that. You just listen, right? As much as they like to criticize, they can't help themselves, they listen. So he said he was going through and he came upon Juliet and Mr. Aruka and everything is only Kamla. Well, for you to be saying every time is only Kamla tells me you listen all the time and he's I fed up, I can't take it no more. So he had to come and vent and calling Juliet all manner of things. And what is he say, boys, only when you're great people just keep talking about you. Well, based on that, if that's what you're saying, it's only when you're great people keep talking about you. Then Dr. Rowley is the greatest of all leaders because all the UNC can't stop talking about Dr. Rowley. Everything, all you open Rowley this and Rowley and Rowley and Rowley. In fact, you all talk about Rowley more than PNM people talk about Kamala Prasad Visesa. So if I am to use your rational doggy dog, Dr. Rowley is the greatest. You see, you don't think before you talk. But anyway, not surprised. The waterfront ilk. That's what, yeah. But she knows there's a challenge to her leadership. And her coming on an interview, they say, well, I don't believe it. And there's rumors, and so just rumors. And you bring the evidence, and then I'll consider it. But the evidence is all around you, Mrs. Prasad Visesa. When you said it's party before country, and if you want to put country before party, go to hell. When Vasant Bharat challenged you for the leadership, you knew there were members in your party who supported Vasant, who are still there today. When Fuad Khan challenged you for leadership of the party, you knew there were persons in the hierarchy of the UNC who supported Fuad Khan. And they are still there today. What, you feel they disappear and they just get quiet and say, okay, we'll support the leader? That is why when the previous leadership election to this one, the last one that they had, she brought it forward. She brought forward the internal elections to coincide with the leadership election because she knew there was plans afoot. There were plans afoot to get rid of her. And people like Boti Wari and I think Ganga Singh and a couple others had the intention of challenging her for the leadership. And when she found that out and she realized these persons were better caliber than she is, she decided to bring forward the internal election so that she could run a slate and garner votes based on slate. That is why she did that. And there were protestations in the party for her doing that. There were questions as to the constitutionality of her doing that based on the party's constitution. But again, that is a party of wimps. The men in that party are a bunch of wimps. As I always say, when you come into office through that party, you are required, first of all, to leave your testicles in a box in Mrs. Prasad Visesa's office. And depending on which post you contest, whether you are a councillor or an elected MP to the House of Representatives, or even if you're in the Senate, depending on how many years you're entitled to serve, she'll let you know, as an elected MP for the next 5 years, you have no testicles. They belong to me. You're a councillor for the next 4 years, your testicles belong to me. Leave it in the box there. Don't even ask a question. You're singing soprano for the next 4 or 5 years. Yeah? Your voice high pitched. No testicles. And we see it all the time. All the time. So all behind in the back room, they will talk and challenge Mrs. Pasabi. But in public, they will not do it because they know her position is cemented and everybody love being in office and everybody have dreams of the UNC coming back into power and one position, who wants to be minister and who wants to be senator and who wants to be ambassador and chairman of this state company and chairman of that state company and who want position. That's what it's about for them. Position. They love money bad and they afraid jail. That's why they put in things in place now to make every criminal offense a bailable offense. So that when they are eventually caught for committing such offenses, they don't have to go and sit down and remand. They could apply for bail. And as the good boys, Ramdeen and Ram Logan and others, you know this case going to take forever and a day to call, so you will continue to enjoy your life as normal. They know how to exploit the judicial system to frustrate the preliminary inquiry and come up with all kind of shenanigans. And because look how long this since 2015, Ram Logan was fired for witness tampering. 8 years on this case going on. 8 years. No end in sight. They're still at the preliminary stage. They decide to frustrate the system because Ram Logan is claiming that the judge who would have granted the warrants for the seizure of phone records to prove that he in fact did call Gary Griffith and attempted to call David West, that the judge was biased against him. This judge, of course, being Gillian Lucky. And his claim that because he had some bacchanal he and Gillian Lucky had, I think when she was head of the PCA or something like that. And he is claiming that is because of some vendetta is why she granted the warrant for them to get access to his phone records. And on that basis, he's challenging the legality of those warrants, which provided the phone records that prove that he did in fact call David West and call Gary Griffith. You see, these men, they know the law, they understand the law, and they know how to frustrate the system so that they can remain outside. So when you see all these things and they are petitioning the court to make every offense bailable, understand it's not just because they're looking for business. That's part of it too. They're looking for clients who are behind bars, but they're safeguarding themselves, putting things in place so that if and when there is full discovery of all the wrongdoing that took place between 2010 to 2015, that should they be brought before the courts, there are no worries. They will never see the inside of Golden Grove. And so when one questions the real motive behind petitioning the court to make murder a bailable offense, the first thing that comes to mind is Dana Sitahal, and whether or not the players in that murder, right, want to make sure that if and when their names are called, or if and when the police improve their crime detection skills and should unearth who were the real masterminds behind Dana Sitahal's killing, and that these individuals come before the court, that they would be able to get bail. Yeah? They don't have to go and sit down in Golden Grove or sit down in remand and think about all the money they could have been spending and the nice houses that they built and purchased that they can't enjoy. So let us secure that. Yeah, because we see recently the police starting to, cold case. They have a cold case unit that really working. So if ever somebody decides to speak and the real masterminds behind Dana Sitahal's killing are named, they're good to go. They're good to go. Yeah, but only in Trinidad. Yeah. Bunch of, anyway, but that is the government in waiting, the alternative to the current administration. Right? But Mrs. Pasabi says, you ain't fooling nobody. I have it on good authority from persons who are in the UNC and who were in the UNC that you are aware that there is a coup taking place, that there are separate factions within the UNC that are trying to build support to oust you. even if they may not be able to do so prior to the 2025 general election, should you lose the 2025 general election, they're not prepared. There are a number of persons within the hierarchy of the UNC who are no longer prepared to keep you on as political leader. And they are aware that they too are aging, they too getting old, and the number of years that would be available to them to sit in the position of political leader of the UNC and for them, hopefully, to sit as prime minister is diminishing. The longer you stay there, is the less years they can do that. Is the less years they have to rape the treasury. So right now you are a stumbling block, an obstruction, so to speak. And they realize that your political currency is worth less than I don't want to offend nobody here, the Bolivar. Let me just say that. Apologies to any Venezuelans on the live. Right? A political currency is worth less than the Bolivar. They know that. I mean, it's very difficult for Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar to convince the wider public. The mere fact that a recent the people meet up poll on TV6, where they asked, do you think or do you believe that the opposition would support the legislation with respect to polygraph testing and biometrics and so on? And 86% said no. 86% of the population said no, we don't expect them to. Only 14% expected you to. That to me is very telling. It says where the public's mindset is with respect to the role that the opposition plays with respect to the fight against crime in this country. They have their motives why they would not support. So we're not fooled. Not fooled at all. I want to touch on something else. Yeah, poor Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar. But she brought that onto herself, right? Nobody else. Because you refuse to realize and recognize that your time is spent. You serve a term, Baz served 1 term and 1 year, and he gone. He too tried to hold on to power and he ended up demitting office in disgrace after a successful coalition. Back then when Jack still had power, Jack ain't had that power no more. Right? Jack is 80 years old now. And the signs of wear and tear, right? The signs of depreciation is showing. He's not the Hefe that he was back then and doesn't have the power that he had back then, and even the deep pockets he had back then to be able to oust Mr. Pandey. But he's supporting you now. You see, and that's why she pulled in Gary and pulled back Jack. Jack is back and all of that. Because she realized the patience of a large section of her support, the membership of the UNC is waning. She still has her supporters. But there are those who recognize and realize Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar she no longer possesses the wherewithal to lead the party to victory. And then there are those who know, who are within the UNC, who know that another government led by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is not good. Imagine when people in the UNC, who are in the UNC now, hardcore UNC supporters are saying, listen, even if the party wins, that is not good for the country. They will admit it within the circles, How so? Because the people who she has surrounding her, the people who form her core executive, right? The inner circle, the cabal, there are people in the UNC who they know damn good. So while they may support Prasad-Bissessar, they don't support Ravi Ratiram. They know what he is about. These people who would have been propositioned, right? Persons who know what he is about. In the same way, Basan Bharat could have come and tell us, and tell Ian Allen. And I said, Ian Allen, something wrong with him, but anyway, forget it, right? He is yesterday's yesterday and today is today. When Basan Bharat did that interview with him about the human trafficking thing and spoke about how he was in a party, some function, and the member for Kuva North came to him with 3 women and offered him. Tell him, I know, you see anything you like? Well, no? You sure you're not interested? And told one of the young ladies, well, give him a card now, just in case. In case he changes his mind. In case he and the wife have fallen out and he needs a bedroom. Yeah, probably the environment or the setting that we're in, he don't want, in case anybody is within earshot, because they say walls have ears. So give him a card now, so he can probably call on if he decides he wants something. This is Basan Bharat saying this on public record. on national TV without fear of being sued. He said that. So there are those others in the UNC who have similar stories and know that man ain't no damn good and cannot fathom the idea of him being a government minister. But he always up under Kamala. Yeah? You would say he's deodorant. Always on her, all over her, anywhere she go. He always organizing things. He there. You know how long this man wanted. When I worked with him some years ago. Probably back in sometime between 2007 2010. Never really liked him, but anyway, you could tell he's shady. He struck me as a shady character. But he always there people like he and Al-Ram who have shown that they have the propensity to be dishonest. Fired from 2 public utility companies, but today you sitting down in the parliament as an elected member of parliament and questioning government ministers on issues. And you contributed to making laws. And you have shown yourself to be dishonest. Shown yourself to have the capacity to throw out of the window decency in public life. And Mrs. Bisesa is singly responsible for you being there. She could have vetoed, but no. Even knowing these things, they still keep you there. They still tell you, come. And they know the things that she encourages. That when it is that you allowed a man to contest a seat as a councillor, knowing there was evidence out there that he likes little boys. Propositioning little boys, trying to groom young boys, teenage boys, to engage in all manner of wrongdoing, sexual things. Playing with the minds of these children, and you had another man who has a complaint, 4 complaints against him with respect to gun-related issues. The victim sent you emails detailing what went on, how this man brandished gun and threatened and all of that, and you still allowed him to contest a seat in a UNC safe seat. And today he's a councillor. So there are people who know her judgment is poor. There are people within the UNC who do not support Anil Roberts being in the Senate, who do not support David Nackett being in the Senate, and they know these persons are all there at the behest of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And they are concerned that should she win office in 2025, the caliber of persons that she will recruit to populate the government and serve as ministers in this country is concerning and disturbing. And so while they would love to see their party back in power, they are concerned that the leader's choice of personnel needs help. A lot of help. It is lacking, and it will not serve the country good. They know that. And they have to live here. Some of these people, they're not looking for position. Right? They genuinely believe that a government under Kamala Persad-Bissessar could do well, but it's the people who are now trying to curry favor with her to get into such a government in significant positions is what is of concern. And if people in the party concerned about that, what does it leave for the rest of us who do not support that party? What does it leave? Tells you a lot. And this is information that I got from persons within the UNC telling me this. Yeah? So it's not me making up thing and hearsay. I can't call no names, but maybe if you comment, I might whistle. But anyway, there was Ralph Maraj on Sunday. He does an article every week in the Express. Sunday, 5th November, his article was entitled, "Rowley Should Consult PM Holness." After 8 years and over 4,000 murders, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley was apparently stirred last week from his detachment when 8 persons were gunned down in a 24-hour period. He declared the state would redouble its efforts to stop these violent outbursts, hunt down and disarm perpetrators, and make operational adjustments so state security services can act with dispatch. He added that the situation had gone beyond concerning to the ridiculous. An Express editorial offered more suitable adjectives like appalling, horrific, and abominable to describe our crisis, and concluded the Prime Minister's ridiculous crime statement said absolutely nothing. MSJ leader David Abdullah also saw it as meaningless, while opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar said Rowley was attempting to appear tough, but putting a public relations plaster on the problem. And a Guardian editorial said the Prime Minister sets the right tone on crime, but must follow through. Indeed, but what did Rowley's tough talk produce? 100 Army reservists for the Christmas and Carnival season so people could shop here and shop there, says the National Security Minister with trademark emptiness. Compare this triteness with Jamaica in its battle against crime, bringing the police and creating zones of special operations under joint command to uphold the law in a zone, rid the area of all illegal weapons, ammunition, or other contraband, empower members of the joint force to search without a warrant within a zone, and establish, if necessary, a cordon and declare a curfew in the region. Serious measures under his National Security Act. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness is providing a more coordinated framework for all national security agencies. Rowley should call Holness. Aiming also for social regeneration, the Jamaican leader is also adopting the whole of government approach. I have repeatedly suggested that to arrest our spreading social decay, the root incubator of our crime levels, the Prime Minister should establish a cabinet subcommittee comprising the appropriate ministers supported by technocracy, civil society, academia. Yeah, when the Prime Minister did that, Ralph, and he sent this team to Lavantil and such areas to have a chat with the youths in the area to determine what were the shortcomings and what it is they needed. Only other problem with that, the only thing you all wanted to find out from that was how much money they were paying Anthony Watkins and the rest of the team. You all had no interest in what was the terms of reference of the task that was afforded them. You didn't care. I wonder if Rob did an article on that to commend the Prime Minister for doing that, for going into the belly of the beast. Did he do that? Not that I'm aware of. Call Holness, I say. Let me see. Just now. He says here, Holness. Yeah, as early as 2018, I recorded that never in our history have citizens felt so unsafe. Most people are holed up in their homes at night, fearing home invasions when gunmen tie you up, rob you, and then kill you for their sport. And those who venture out for some nightlife risk being robbed, raped, or sprayed with machine gun bullets. As I mentioned, that I heard in the news yesterday that over 500 licenses, I think, were given out for the use of pepper spray. So when next you hear Jayanti and Kamla, well, that's one less thing they could talk about now. Okay, every time they get up in the parliament, what is going on with the pepper spray? What has happened to the pepper spray? Where is that Albert and the pepper spray? Well, over 500 persons are now legally entitled to access pepper spray, right? So hopefully we ain't going to hear nothing about that. Or even if Mrs. Pasabi says I didn't hear that news clip and Jayanti didn't hear it, the next time they bring up the issue, just let them know. And hopefully it would appear in the newspapers today, not in the last 2 pages, but probably in the first 2 or 3, so people could see it and know that, hey, it is happening, that persons are in fact getting whatever authorization they require to purchase pepper spray, right? Okay. He goes on to say, where is that village that grew up a child? A functioning family is the norm in this country. The Children's Authority says in the past 8 years, there have been almost 11,000 reports of sexual abuse of children in this nation. Most perpetrators, males, most known to the victims. And when you add the physical and emotional abuse of children, you get 35,000 cases since 2015 from family members or persons known to the family. You know, it's amazing when you listen to these folks, right? You would swear Trinidad and Tobago didn't exist before 2015. All we're hearing is about 2015 to 2023. 2015 to 2024, we'll be hearing just now. 2015 too. But prior to 2015, they didn't exist. That didn't exist when you listen to people like Ralph. So between 2010 to 2015, there was no child abuse. No child was raped. There was no perpetration. None of these things didn't exist. It's only after Keith Rowley became Prime Minister, all of a sudden, the sexual appetite of these perpetrators was just heightened. Idiot. And he goes on to quote some more statistics there. Then he goes on, how many of the 17,000 pupils who went to secondary school annually drop out of or fail academically? The boys, the vast majority, thousands entering manhood ill-equipped to advance their lives. Isn't this the breeding ground for criminals and the annual epidemic of teenage pregnancies, perpetuating an ever-widening cycle of the very underdevelopment from which they spring? This is the volcanic underbelly now convulsing the country, completely ignored for 8 years by Completely ignored for 8 years by Keith Rowley. Completely ignored, right? All right. Completely ignored for 8 years. Because the answer to that was to get them laptop. Get them laptops now so they could go on and without any and make it very easy for them to break through whatever firewalls. Yeah, that was the solution. According to Ralph, give these secondary school students laptops. So when we have free period and miss also income, yeah, we can sit down and go on the laptop, access the internet in the school, and look at pornography. Yeah, to Ralph, that making sense. So Prime Minister, instead of platitudinous nonsensicalities, Papa, you're really the big word man, boy. Sorry, the big word man. And fake outrage, take the 2018 advice of an Express editorial, cease the waffling, and get the job done. And call Andrew Holness. You need the tutelage. His police commissioner recently reported a 22% decline in major crimes in 1 year. Murders down by 21%. Really? I don't know where you get statistics. Maybe he needs to consult with Gary Griffith, because I saw Gary post up an article from the Jamaica Gleaner in defense of his positions recently that said there was only a 12% decline in crime. So I don't know if it is Ralph dyslexic and he doesn't know that, and he confused it because he says a 21% decline and Gary's article say 12. So I don't know if Ralph don't understand the one comes before the two. But he probably has some issues. He has the age and the dyslexia probably now come on. So you don't know the difference between 12 and 21. But I read that because I saw yesterday, an article. Where is it? No. So let me get this here. Right. State of emergency declared in St. James in Jamaica. This is yesterday. And Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has declared a state of emergency in the entire parish of St. James due to a recent uptick in gang violence. I wonder if Ralph saw that article. I might probably send it to Darian so he could raise it next week Monday. But whenever Darian raises things of substance to challenge Ralph Maraj's position, all of a sudden his internet starts giving problems. All of a sudden his laptop starts giving issues. Yeah? Starts having issues. So Ralph, are you there? Ralph? Mr. Maraj? Mr. Maraj, you there? All of a sudden, no. He not there. Right? He not there. When he come with his diatribe and his nonsense. Last week, Monday, I sent something to Darian with respect to after Mr. Maraj spoke about the worst crime statistics ever in the country, in the country's history, and we are sixth in the world in terms of being the most murderous country and so on. And I had to send Darian something to let him know that in 2013 we ranked third, the third most murderous, the most criminal country. Our worst ranking ever, behind Venezuela and Honduras. 2013. All of a sudden, after Darian is trying to get on to him to challenge his position, and Mr. Maraj disappeared. Well, we see in his camera, but apparently, I don't know. Conveniently, he disappeared. Yeah, conveniently. Well, this Monday, Darian wasn't there, so he had a time, he had a field day. But perhaps Darian, I might send this article to Darian so he can raise it with him vis-a-vis his article about praising Andrew Holness. Holness says the state of emergency declaration followed a recommendation by security forces and an assessment of the crime situation in the parish. The declaration comes after a deadly attack on a taxi cab in Salt Spring, St. James, which left a 26-year-old man and two young boys, one 7-year-old and the other a 9-year-old, dead on Monday. Legislators had condemned the act during Parliament on Monday. And yesterday, Parliament rose in unison to condemn the barbaric murder of innocent lives, young children who had the entire future ahead of them. And for all parents, it must be a consideration in your mind that it could have been your children, Holness said during a press conference. On October 26, students of Salt Spring Primary School were left traumatized after a young couple was shot and killed in the vicinity of the school. The Prime Minister said he wants to give assurance to the people of Jamaica, we will not wilt, we will not resile in the face of terror. And Holness said the response of the government to the increase in crime has been proportionate and restrained, and we have been very strategic as well. The Prime Minister said that violence in Salt Spring had seemingly quelled after security intervention measures were introduced years ago. When the recent uptick in violence became noticeable, the government had increased police presence in the community and imposed curfews. But that did not seem to bring the internecine gang warfare under control, Holness said. Let me repeat that. But that did not seem to bring the internecine gang war under control. This is the same Holness that Ralph saying Dr. Rowley needs to consult to get ideas on how to treat with crime is telling you that these measures where we increase police presence and impose curfews did not work. It didn't work. Ralph, apparently, you didn't know that. I will send Darian this article so he can probably forward it to Mr. Morales so he can have a read. Too late for him to amend or to adjust his article. Yeah? But the very things that you're saying, Dr. Rowley should call Holness, and Holness could tell him impose curfew and increase police presence. It didn't work, Ralph, according to the same Holness that you're telling Dr. Rowley to call. A major part of the government's response to crime would be to use the law with blunt force. In other words, according to the Minister of National Security in Jamaica, shoot to kill. One shot, one kill. Yeah? All right. As part of its crime response, the government of Jamaica has approved an increase in penalties. Here it is. An increase in penalties for criminals through a new Bail Act and a new Firearms Act, which provides penalties ranging from 15 years to life imprisonment for breaches. A new Bail Act. In other words, no bail. You're caught with guns, no bail. In Trinidad here, that can happen. Somebody need to tell Ralph that. Right? You want Dr. Rowley to call Holness? Maybe you need to tell Kamla and Jayanti to call Holness with respect to the Bail Act and the Firearms Act. Because in Trinidad here, we trying to do the same thing. The PNM under Keith Rowley trying to do the same thing. To deny certain individuals who continue to show themselves to be a nuisance to society from a criminal perspective, to deny them bail. And the UNC say no. Not at all. You will not deny people the right to access bail, whether it be for murder, for rape, for gun charges. It don't matter the crime. They will have access to bail. New Firearms Act, which provides penalties ranging from 15 years to life imprisonment for breaches of the Firearms Act. What are you doing with an illegal firearm? 15 years minimum to life imprisonment. In Trinidad here, no, come and get bail and go back out and do the same thing that you do. And the police hold you again, they catch you with a whole cache of guns and arms and ammunition. Come, take bail and go back out and continue to traffic your guns and ammunition. Yeah, but Ralph saying call Holness. What would Dr. Rowley calling Holness achieve in that instance? Holness ain't doing anything that Dr. Rowley doesn't want to do. He can't do it. Because it seems the court here is partial to anyway, I'm much more right. The government has also sought to make amendments to the Offences Act against the Person. The Offences Against the Person Act to reinforce the punishment for capital murder is the death penalty. Holness said Jamaica's current criminal laws are very light in comparison to the other free and democratic countries that we aspire to be. Apparently, Mr. Holness said no what taking place in Trinidad. Prime Minister referred to those who commit senseless murders as terrorists, adding that criminals do not respect human rights and the safety of the ordinary citizens in Jamaica. He said those that are against increased penalties for criminals are creating a strong narrative that we should give protection to criminals. Let me read that again. He said those that are against increased penalties for criminals are creating a strong narrative that we should give protection to criminals. Jayanti say, get them bail. Jayanti say that when you deny them bail, you're creating single-parent homes and fatherless children. So we must give them bail so that they could go out and continue to lead normal lives, regardless of how they upset or overturn society with their criminal behavior. Holness goes on to say, I think this country needs to stop sending mixed signals to criminals. They are not going to return any grace that you give to them. It seems the person who really need to call Holness is Kamla and members of the UNC hierarchy. UNC senators are the ones who need to speak to Mr. Holness, not Dr. Rowley, right? So Ralph need to wheel and come again with this tripe that he wrote here. This piece of crap that he wrote here about call Holness. Right now in Jamaica, they're approaching 1,200 murders for the year. 1,200. Last year, it was 1,498. Well, at least that is what they detected or they recorded. But you know how these things work. A couple months later, you might find a skeleton here or there, maybe 3, 4, 5, which would have taken the murder toll over 1,500. But let's work with the official figure of 1,498 persons were murdered in Jamaica last year, 2.5 times the number in Trinidad and Tobago. Jamaica's population is twice the size of ours, right? They have, well, it was 2.9 million, but the rate at which they're killing people over there probably diminished a bit. Yeah? But rather saying, yeah, call of wholeness. Call wholeness. So the projection is that this year they will probably end up on about 1,400, so about 98 less than last year. And that is good. According to people like Ralph and Gary, look at this significant decline. Yeah? They've recorded a decrease in the number of murders from 1,498 to 1,400. So almost 1,200 people have been murdered in Jamaica already, with another month and 3 weeks to go. Yeah? So it looks like, and there was a prediction from certain criminologists in Jamaica earlier this year that they would end on about 1,400 this year. And for them, that is an accomplishment. 1,400 persons murdered in Jamaica. But Ralph saying that is the example that we need to look to. States of emergency in different places and whatnot. When it is that Dr. Rowley resisted a state of emergency during COVID, remember when the UNC was calling for it at first? And Dr. Rowley said, no, I choose in the first instance to believe that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are rational and they would understand what they need to do, so that when we lock down certain sections of the economy and we ask people to stay home, that people should, you should be grown up enough to stay home. We shouldn't have to put things in place to force you to stay home to save your own damn life. Well, apparently the doc was wrong. So eventually they had to introduce the state of emergency. Remember the pushback we get for that? People complain, what are we supposed to do? Yeah, this is wrong home, and I'm to do, you're bored, and now you want to go out. But he's saying that let us impose states of emergency. So it is not enough that they call out 100 reservists for the voluntary defense force. It's never enough for them. Never enough. There's nothing, even the Prime Minister were to do what he's saying here, he'll probably come and find fault with that and say he ain't doing it good enough. You can't please these people. We know they have an agenda. They just don't like Dr. Rowley for whatever reason. Don't like him. And that can't change. And he couldn't care less. Right? It's neither here nor there with him. He is who he is, and he will continue to do what he needs to do. This Hines must go and Hines must go, as if that would make a change. You feel these criminals care about Hines? You feel they care about Dr. Rowley? They don't. Just because you had an altercation on the avenue, and you don't like how somebody talked to you, somebody tell you something, and you decide you're going to write for them. You feel the criminals just thinking about Mr. Hines when they took issue with some fellas loading them up and probably calling them imps and whatever and cussing them. You know it's me? You know it's me? I'll go show you it's me. Right? They go and they get the guns, find the fellas, open fire. Just because you took offense to them talking to you and sitting down. At no point in time in that whole altercation, I'm certain, did Mr. Hines come into the thoughts of the perpetrators, did Dr. Rowley, or any other member of the government for that matter. They don't even care about the police. Because they know if you commit murder now, by tomorrow, the day after, you're back out on the street. So this is the concern, the fear that if you get caught, you will end up losing your freedom, which they so value, and you end up sitting in the remand yard for however long in the conditions. That fear has now been removed. So what is stopping me from? If I could kill somebody and get bail, and this case going to take donkey years to court, and I could live my life normal as ever. Yeah, I know I have a case and the requirement to go to the police station once a week, twice a week to sign a book. At the end of the day, I still live in life normal. I could go to the grocery as normal. I could lime. I could go on boat ride. I could do whatever I want as normal. This case not affecting me. It's not affecting me. If it get called twice for the year, preliminary inquiry, it get called plenty times. So it's not here. Well, I'm gonna kill some more people. This how some of these guys acted. The fear, the one thing that was left that would cause them to think, if I kill this man, they catch me. One sit down in a prison, man, for 10 years, 15 years before my case called. I want to do that. That, thanks to Gianti and Anan, no longer exists. We kill the man, but you're worried. You're getting bail. You see there, so much people who get bail for murder, and somebody the crimes them commit. Yeah, go ahead and kill the man. All right, no problem. And where they going to? Just make sure you have your money, your thing you could organize. You have people who could pay the 10% for the bill, right? Right. You call Anan getting you off easy. Easy, Anan getting you off. And he likes, just call them. Don't worry. That's the lawyer to call. Make sure you have your money put on. Right. But talk to wholeness. I don't know where rock Ralph living on. Clearly. Let's see if this thing gonna behave itself from now. You know, when I want that the battery in that phone to die, do die. Right. Let me test out this again. Is it time there? 7:28. Let's see if this will connect. Why isn't this connected? Let me try this one. One second, folks. Let me try this other. Right. Nice. So that means the battery died. Came across a video last night, and it would be remiss of me if I don't touch on it. There was a couple other things that I wanted to touch on, but I will probably deal with that on Sunday. With respect to, I listened yesterday also on I-95. Trevor James finally gave a statement to the Assembly with respect to that whole matter involving the lease of the chartered aircraft. And his explanation is at odds, at variance with what Farley said in the Guardian article as to the timeline of when Farley found out about the whole charter and all of that. But so I was going to play that, but in the interest of time, I need to play something else. I'm going to get it here. You see, we live in a lawless society, and lawless doesn't only mean committing criminal acts like murder, rape, robbery. You have ordinary citizens who figure because they have money that they are above the law and can do it as they want, right? And people like these, you know, a precedent needs to be set. And I'm sick and tired of government authorities, state agencies who have the power to do things, allowing certain people to get away with things because they ain't doing their work. They're receiving a salary every month to do certain things, and they turn a blind eye to certain things and allow people to feel that you could do whatever you want, right? Because you have a little kakada. You're driving a Range Rover or BMW, or you're driving a Mercedes or whatever it is, and you figure that entitles you to do whatever it is that you want, and you could challenge the state because you have a little PWAC lawyer who probably giving you advice and making you feel that the courthouse, using the courthouse, you could do whatever it is and defy the state, right? Let me play this. This is Inshan Ishmael, who has decided, and he made this clear a couple of weeks ago, that the residents of Bamboo number 2 intend to put up a guard booth, right? To put up a guard booth to be able to restrict access to Bamboo number 2. Because apparently, I don't know if he figured he is the mayor of Bamboo number 2, the president of Bamboo number 2, or the prime minister of Bamboo number 2. So he's saying that 99% of the residents agree to put up this guard booth, right, with this barrier, so they could scrutinize and monitor who comes in to Bamboo. Yeah? Let me play this. Listen to me. The language, he use no real expletives, but nevertheless, listen to it. Yes.
A few months ago, Bamboo Village got 3 extortion requests. We have had 5 robberies in Bamboo, some armed, some not armed. We have had almost weekly occurrences of predia larceny and other things. The Bamboo villagers all agreed that we are going to put up a guard booth. Like every other area that wants to secure itself, we decided that we're going to put up a guard booth, right? Because at the end of the day, the government is not securing us. So we need to secure ourselves. And we all know that. Because you have jackasses at the top who secure, who taken care of, who have police security, who have armed security. We, on the other hand, the citizens have to catch our ass. Now, let me explain something. But as I explain this here, do me one favor. I want to let us share this slide because I read it. So we started construction of our guard boot. This is our guard boot here, right? It is off the sidewalk, and this is a sizable guard boot. It's about 10 feet by 10 feet, right? Now, this is to secure bamboo. Bamboo is one way in, one way out, so armed guards will be posted here. This guard boot started yesterday. Ministry of Works officials came here today. And here they are, sir. Ministry of Works officials came here when I was here. And they told me that we cannot put up that for vending. I said, who told you all that this is for vending? They said they got a report that we putting up something to vend here. Now imagine this. The Ministry of Works gets somebody, and I show you some jackass from the Ministry of Agriculture. It have a real ugly woman across here. If you see this woman, come and take him pity yesterday. The woman like she teeth get vexed with she face. If you see how ugly this woman is, from that place here, right? From the Ministry of Agriculture right across here. One ugly looking woman come across and take him photos. I show you she, with she ugly dote herself. Anyway, she made arrangements to report that we're going to build something for vending here. And the ministry came this morning and they put up this sign. Imagine we started this in less than 24 hours and the ministry find themselves time to come and put up an vending sign. But wait, it gets better. While I went on the road, Ministry of Works police, yes, Ministry of Works have police, and I will post up the video just now because I didn't record the video, my employee did. Ministry of Works employees showed up and told us that we cannot build this guard boot. And if we do not break down this structure, within 7 days, they are going to break it down. This is where the door going. This is where the other door going. This is where the big window going to allow people in the village. This is where the other window going. And we have gotten approval from 99% of the village that we put in up the guard boot. So the village approved it. The village approved it. The businessmen approved it. So we don't have a problem with this. So the ministry told me now, they told me here happening within 7 days, we have to break this up. Let me ask you a question. Why the Ministry of Works don't study all them places where PNM supporters build up and living illegally and occupying millions of dollars in government land? Why they ask the ministry ain't concerned with all the contractors who robbing we blind and building road all over the place and the road falling apart? Why they ask the ministry don't talk about all them contractors who taking bribes and collecting bribes and paying bribes to engineers? But all you're coming down here to tell we that we can't flip and build a guard boot for your own village? All you're selling police, ministry police here to break down a guard boot that will be used to secure a wee village? Well, let me tell you something. Hold all your ass. I tell you all as it is. And I dare the ministry at challenging Rohan and all them other stink, dirty, crook and con men that it have in the ministry, right? I challenge all you. Come and break this guard boot. Come and break this guard boot. I dare all you to come and break this guard boot in 7 days. All you can't do it because here what happening. I will file an injunction on all your ass because at the end of the day, if you're PNM, you could build anywhere you want. If you're PNM, you could thief land and do what the ass you want. You could thief water, you could thief electricity. But we in this village that paying millions of dollars in taxes are mining half of them PNM and them. You telling me that we can't put up a blasted guard boot to secure our own bloody village? No. Imagine sending police, Ministry of Works police, to threaten my workers and to threaten we here that we cannot build this. All you watch is, I just letting all you know that this guard boot, it going up. And Rohan, he mommy, he papi, he dog, he cat, he goat, nobody ain't gonna stop the Symbolism because this is authorized by the Symbolism because this is authorized by the villagers of Bamboo number 2 and the businessmen of Bamboo number 2. This is not something that Inshan pull out of his back pocket. So here what's happening. Ministry of Works employees want to come again? All you come. All you come. I want to see all you touch one bloody block on this. Fellas, all you continue and build this. Don't let nobody come and threaten all you. Build it. Nobody come in to touch this. I guarantee that. I'm going to make arrangements to file an injunction in detail because here what's happening. While Rohan cock up the ass man, he comfortable. You telling me that we cannot have our own guard boot in the village now, man. All you had to be flipping, man.
Apparently, now is King Inshan. King Inshan, master of all I survey. All lands on which I lay my eyes on belongs to me. According to he, the village approved it, the businessmen approved it, and therefore it could be built. I didn't hear him say the regional corporation approved it. Because last I checked, that is who's supposed to approve it. Because just a little way up the road, right? Just across the road, a little higher up, the residents of Valsay North, I think it is, a few months ago wanted to do the same thing. And they had to seek the permission of the corporation. In fact, the media would have interviewed the then chairman of the corporation, Kwesi Robinson, who indicated that yes, a request had come from the residents of Valsay North and that the council would consider it. The council would consider it, right? The persons who have been elected by the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago, right? Who have responsibility for these areas. The chairman said that the residents of Valsay North, who have plenty more money than the residents of Bamboo, or when you're driving Valsay North and you see these palatial homes and so on, you know they pocket deep. Deep pockets, right? They followed proper procedure. Rather than say, well, we have money and we came together and the residents of Valsay North say we want it and we go in and put it up. And unlike Inshan, they didn't decide to put up a big concrete structure on the side because, and say, well, all right, well, we have this space here. They put up a little wooden guard booth, right? That looking like, you know, one of those telephone booths in the UK. There, little wooden structure. They haven't put up the barrier because I don't think they have gotten the permission to do it. So while they wanted to do it, they haven't done it. Yeah? But apparently King Inshan figured that because the village see and the businessmen see that that is all the authority that they need to be able to put up this guard booth to restrict access. Now, at last I checked, I didn't know that Bamboo number 2 was a residential area. I didn't know Bamboo number 2 was a private development. I'm not aware of that. And I want to ask Inshan, since you're so sure that what you're doing is correct, why you didn't put the guard booth higher up the road? Why you put it after the Ministry of Agriculture building there, which is a government building? So you cannot restrict access of the employees from the government building to be able to go into their office. Why didn't put it higher up? You have so much space. When you look at where, if you're going, I don't want to encourage you to go on the Facebook page to give them no forward, but oh gosh. If you want to see the video, unfortunately it did. But when you look at where he put the guard booth, is after the Ministry of Agriculture place. You should have put it at the entrance from just off the highway. Since you're so big and bad. And when ministry employees come in the morning, they had to tell the security, well, you are working here, look my ID. Why didn't do that? Since you're so sure you could just put up anything. You have a deed for that piece of land that you put it, so you say it's off the pavement. You have a deed for that, Mr. Ishmael? Why didn't come and show the deed, hold it up in the camera and say, look, I have a deed for this piece of land there. On whose authority are you putting up this structure? Right? They cry, oh, trouble, we have no money to pay extortion and so on, but you have money to pay security guard because it's 24/7 security. Right? 24/7 security. For it to make sense. Because I don't think the bandits and the would-be killers and so on who operate 8 to 4. Right? So which means that in order for that to make sense, you need to have round-the-clock security. And security, you're not paying them with grass. So you have to pay them with dollars. So the business association, I suppose, and what I don't know if Inshan going to pay for the security for himself or everybody contribute every month to pay for the security, but they cry in trouble. But you see, this is the problem, because he said the Ministry of Works police came and told them whoever issue whatever citation or whatnot. From the time he launched that video, the TTPS was supposed to show up, right? Because I'm sure with it being shared over 14,000, well, it has over 14,000 views, shared 157 times. Within that 14,000 views, I'm sure there's at least one police officer who saw that. So the TTPS was supposed to show up and let Mr. Ishmael know. You have to cease and desist. All right? You have documentation giving you approval to put up this structure. We mean official, not because you say, and you come and tell us that 99% of the village approve it. So what about the 1% that didn't approve it? The 1% who say we don't want it. What about them? Their views don't matter? Their views don't matter. Who gave you the permission? Other than the businessman, is that how it works? So that anybody could come and say, well, all right, well, we want to put up something here because the majority of the residents in the neighborhood say they want it. Is that how it works? So when it is that ministry or government entities need to go inside there, you have to pull up by a guard booth and explain to the security what is your business, why it is that you're going there. That's how it works. Now, based on where, and this is the issue, based on where the guard booth is, it is not in the center. So it looks as if it's on the right side of the road. So if you put your barrier or whatever it is and a vehicle is entering Bamboo, how it is you're going to tell the security? So the security guard has to come out, come around, talk to you. You show him whatever documentation you have to prove that you have legitimate business in Bamboo. For him to raise the bar to allow you to go in, and then when they're coming out, they stop and tell you they need to switch your trunk to see any no bodies inside or whatever it is. And this is the problem. The lawlessness, and people like Mr. Ishmael who figure he's above the law. And again, because you have money and you're talking about your own file injunction and do what? To go and tell the court what? That you and a handful of businessmen decided all they want to put up a guard booth to obstruct the free passage of the free flow of traffic. So when it is you have now, based on where they put up this thing, you know Bamboo is already a mess when you're going inside and you put up this guard booth. And you have vehicles wanting to come into Bamboo, but you have this obstruction so close to the highway that you would have vehicles coming in now, but everybody needs to show that they're going in there for a legitimate reason. And you have a pile-up of traffic on the highway with vehicles waiting to go into Bamboo because you have one man holding up the line because he's trying to tell the security guard, watch now, I don't want to tell you nothing. I don't want to show you no credentials. Who the hell is you? Why move that barrier? Who is in China Ishmael to tell me I can come in here whenever it is I want? Who is he? And you have one man in a confrontation with the security guard and a long line of cars all up on the highway causing traffic. What you going to do then? You going to come and direct traffic? You're going to call Gary and tell Gary come and direct traffic? So when that happens, when you have 5, 6, 7 people who say, oh, I'm going to show in China, who the hell he feel he is? Can't tell me I had to show any papers or any documentation that I legitimately have a legitimate right to go inside. Who is he? Really? By now, the TTPS was supposed to deal with backside. Long time. But here, fellas, continue to build that. Continue to do all your work. And how he going and arrange to file an injunction to prevent, so that he could put up whatever he wants. And how the PNM come into that? About all the money that he and then businessman paying inside, they're mining half of the PNM. Everything for he, you see, and this is the problem that I have with this man. This is the problem I have. You mining half of the PNM. Because in his mind, PNM supporters struggling. PNM supporters suffering. PNM supporters eating grass. In his mind, his sick, twisted mind. So everything about the PNM. And when it is that during COVID and he was giving out hampers and so on, the majority of the people in the line was PNM supporters because they were of African descent. When he was taking census of the ethnicity of the composition of the crowd that came to get things, right? So he probably watching us say, oh, right, yeah, PNM. Because apparently once you're a person of African descent, you're PNM. That is their mindset. That is their mindset, that only persons of African descent support the PNM. So you could just watch a man, hey, yeah, you see his texture of his hair, the color of his hair, he's a PNM. And always talking this dotishness about how much African he help. And he minding half of the PNM and why they don't go and look for the PNM who living on millions of dollars of state land. Tell us, on whose authority, and you see, this is the things that is exposed stuff. On whose authority? The land that was given to you, let him know bamboo number 2 is not Baraka Grounds. The land that was given to you with the assistance of Gary Griffith based on what Philip Alexander said and based on Gary Griffith's admission subsequent to a post that he put up, that would have assisted you in getting Baraka Grounds supposedly to build a hospital for the Muslim community. How it ended up that land that was supposed to be used for the construction of a hospital for the Muslim community end up with a food court, end up with swimming pool, end up with car wash, and has become a commercial hub when it was supposed to build a hospital. And the land now that is currently occupied by all of these different businesses was probably intended to be a car park. I want to ask, did you provide the state with plans of the blueprint of how the hospital was supposed to go, where it was supposed to go, how it was supposed to build? And when it is that you made representation for this land, did you indicate to the authorities that you would be putting up a food court? You will be putting up a swimming pool for people to come and get swimming lessons, putting up car wash and whatever other commercial activities taking place on that land. So is it that the government now is in the habit of giving land to people? Like, yeah, take 5 acres, take 10 acres, take 20 acres, and you just go and, yeah, you just set up business there, man. Yeah, you say you want to build a hospital, no problem. And you just build anything else. I would love to know. I would love to know. Is it when this land was it given with the intention for Inshan Ishmael to establish a restaurant called Brilliant, where they're selling supposedly the best burgers and the best lamb and all of that? Is that how it works? So what about the rest of us? The rest of the citizenry, right? Why we can't get a piece of land to put up a restaurant? Why we can't get a piece of state land to be able to, without paying any money, to be able to put up a car wash? How he's so special? And it seems that he is the CEO of Baraka Grounds. Because whenever you hear Baraka Grounds, all you hear is Inshan Ishmael. Inshan Ishmael. Yeah? Nobody else. You ain't hear no other name mentioned. Why aren't we questioning these things? But you see, when you give him leeway for Baraka, and he feel he could do what he wants on state land, I would love to know the terms and warranties under which Inshan Ishmael got that piece of land. What was the basis on which he got it? Is it that it was given to him or to some Muslim organization? Did they receive a deed? Whose name is on the deed? We need to know these things. As citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the land belongs to all citizens. And if it is any government decides that they want to take that land, because remember, the government really are stewards of state assets on behalf of all citizens. And I want to let Inshan know that you and your businessmen partners ain't the only ones paying taxes in this country, right? There are many of us out here who pay tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes every year. So when you want to come with this dotish talk about you and the businessman only minding half of the PNM, as if it's only all it is pay tax because you figure you're a businessman and you're always looking for ways and means to see how you could cut here and not pay any significant amounts of tax. So miss us with that BS. Because there are many people in this country who every month who have no control over how much taxes comes out from this salary. No control. They have to contend and make do with whatever is sent to their bank account after it comes out and goes to the Board of Inland Revenue. I would have him know that the Prime Minister pays over $100,000 in taxes every year. So when you want to come and talk about taxpayers, the government ministers as well, paying tens of thousands of dollars, and they are citizens of this country too. Rohan pays taxes too. Rohan is also a businessman. So he paying the same tax you paying in Shan. But you figure people like you and your cohort is only all it is pay tax in this country. Everything is taxpayers' money. And half of them who talking about taxpayers' money don't even know what PAYE look like. Never in their life they pay taxes, but always talking about taxpayers' money and taxpayers' money. You have a deed for that piece of land. So suppose the state has intentions now to expand the road. They want to expand bamboo. How are they going to do it? So that piece of land you're saying because it's off the pavement, that gives you authority to put up a guard booth because you're feeling unsafe because you had 3 extortion requests and 5 robberies. And that is sufficient for you to be able to just put up land. But then anybody who living on O'Meara Road or any such road should do the same thing. Because say, well, we're feeling unsafe, so we're going to put up a guard booth on O'Meara Road. Not so? And just say, well, it's off the main road or it's off the pavement, so we can put up a guard booth anywhere. Right? The residents of Santa Rosa, they could do the same thing too. Or any of these other areas. Because I know you could pass through Arima, come through Pinto Road and come through Santa Rosa, come on by the highway. So Demerara Road and all these places where the people could simply say we're feeling unsafe and just put up a guard booth and block off the road. Is that how it works, Incha? So to hell with the regional corporation, you don't need to get permission from them. You could do whatever it is you want. Well, if you could put up a guard booth, why it is you don't just go and run some, extend it and create a food court off the side of the road in Bamboo 2, just like they did in Bamboo number 3. When you come out from Grand Bazaar there and you swing left to head out onto the highway, and all of these food establishments that just pop up just so at the side. All it takes is one, and they realize 1 get away, and then 2. And then they realize 2 get away, and then eventually it's 5 and 10. And then it becomes a commercial hub, obstructing the free flow of traffic because when people now have to stop, it have no parking. And where is town and country planning in these things? Where is town and country? Because if you have a business establishment, ideally you should have some kind of parking so that you do not obstruct the free flow of traffic. But in Bamboo number 3, when you come out Grand Bazaar to head back onto the highway, when vehicles there, especially at busy times, in the evening or on a Friday, park up on the side of the road because it have no parking on the establishments because they're right on the road. So cars just pull up in front and they jump out, the driver jump out and I go in and buy food. And in the meantime, so you block up a whole lane of traffic. So vehicles that are heading south, right? You have to wait because it's a two-way street. You have to wait until vehicles that are heading north pass, then you could drive around the long line of cars that park up with people who stop to buy food so that you could proceed. And I don't understand how the hell town and country allows these things to happen, right? Because people have their house and then the next thing they have a business. So the house way off the road and all, but they realize they have a little front yard, and since other businesses setting up and people making money with food, I have no problems with people trying to earn an honest dollar. But it must not come at the inconvenience of other persons, at the average citizen, because you're making your money. You're not paying any taxes on that income because you just set up a business, right? So you're not going down to the Border Inland Revenue to register and get a BIR number and to go down to the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs to say you go in and register a business. So you could get a company number and a BIR number to pay taxes on the income that you make. All of these business, the majority of them, that on that stretch, I am certain, ain't paying no tax. They ain't paying no tax. Maybe 1 or 2 of the other businesses like the car parks man, maybe, and those who selling flooring and so on, maybe. But for the most part, all these little food vendors, they not pay no taxes, but they reaping the benefits. So when you have a number of cars now coming there to be able to patronize these businesses, and you increase the flow of traffic there, and it damages the road, how they contributing to that to fix the road? No, but the road bad, and the government. But your business establishment contributing to the road being bad because you are increasing the flow of traffic through there, that damaging the road, but you ain't paying 1 lick, not 1 dime or penny of taxes on the money, the income that you're making from selling your food or whatever other business you have running. But the government must come and fix the road for you. So that is your sole source of income. So you ain't contributing nothing by way of income tax. The only tax you're paying probably is when you go to the grocery, you pay VAT. And it's next to nothing when you go to buy all of your supplies for your food establishment. And you're probably paying, if you pay $100 and something in VAT, you pay plenty. And figure that is sufficient the government to warrant the government to come and fix your road. Talking about taxpayers' money. You have a business in Jan. His business is registered, I think, is limited. So he's required to pay taxes. Whether or not he has a creative accountant, I don't know. If he's paying the amount of taxes that he should pay, because he seems to have a lot of money to be paying this lawyer, Mr. Jagasa, every Monday morning you in the court with something. But you're talking about taxpayers' money and how much taxpayers' money, his money, and the taxes that he paying, minus half of the P&M. How much of that taxpayers' dollars you get back, right? When you win an award because the policeman rough you up and the court award you 300 and something thousand, and how much some 100 and something thousand that you win. You pay that amount in taxes? So when you want to talk about taxpayer money, you living high up the hog of a taxpayer's money every time you go to court and you win a case and the court awards you money. Who paying it? Is the same, some of the same P&M people that you're always washing your mouth on? Is their hard-earned tax dollars that is being taken by the state to pay you to go and sit down in your bank account so you could drive your new Range Rover and whatever other vehicle? So miss us with your BS when you want to come and talk about how much tax you paying and tax you paying. You're a damn loafer, right? State. So much state money, taxpayers' dollars you get and sitting in your bank account. Talk about that. How much taxes are you paying for Baraka Grounds? Brilliant paying taxes? The other restaurants in Baraka Grounds, any of them paying tax? How is it that you will establish how much sales you make and so on? Tell us now. I asking, are you all paying taxes? How much taxes Brilliant paid last year? How much taxes Brilliant paid this year? Income tax, corporate tax, how much they paid? The swimming pool on Baraka Grounds that collecting money to teach people how to swim, how much taxes they paid? Tell us, the car wash on Baraka Grounds, how many taxes they paid? How much tax they paid? We want to know. Because Baraka Grounds has become a commercial enterprise. How much you paid for that land? And the state just give you, you pay $1, you pay a lease fee. All that money that is being earned there, because every time you pass by Baraka Grounds, let's boast them, we sell out. We open 3 days for the week, and we sell out. Really? How much money you make? You gotta tell us. But we just want to know. Because that was state land that was given for a philanthropic purpose to benefit. Well, once you build the hospital, even though this is a Muslim hospital, it could be utilized by anybody who have money, who don't want to go and sit down and scrub bench, and could afford private services, assuming that it's private, because it had to maintain, it had to upkeep, and you're only getting no subvention from the state for that hospital. So clearly, you have to charge our money. And we know that the Muslim community has money. So again, even the mindset of we want to build a hospital for the Muslim community who have money and could afford to go to St. Clair and West Shore, St. Augustine private, and all of that. So we want to, you all know, want to capture some of that market, right? Capture some of that market and get some of that money. Will that hospital be paying taxes? I wonder, because there's an imposing structure that's going up there. It take a little while, but it's there. Who is responsible? Whose name is on the deed? I want to know. Is it Inshan Ishmael or is it the name of a specific Muslim entity? But when the authorities allow these people to get away with murder, right? Because when he put up this, if you all allow him to put up this guard boot, he has no permission from the corporation, who, as far as I understand, is the only entity that could give permission. Because when it is the grass grow up on the side next to the guard boot, is the corporation had to come and cut the grass, right? But it says, so if the corporation is responsible for cutting the grass, when CPEP come, is state money paying to maintain that, to cut that grass? So unless it is that you plan to cut the grass on the side there and take that away from CPEP, I don't understand on whose authority you putting up that structure. To come and talk about, you ain't care if Rohan and Imami and Papi and whoever you want to file injunction. I want to know, because if they allow that, then anybody could put up anything anyway. He was reported. And he said the Ministry of Police come and they thought that he was putting up something for the purpose of vending. I don't see the difference whether it's the purpose of vending or a guard booth. You do not have authorization for that. And I don't see any court filing any injunction to say, yes, you could continue to put up this structure, bypassing the proper procedure that everybody else will have to go through, that the people in Valsay North still waiting on, because last time I checked, when I passed there yesterday or day before, as the case may be, and I peep in, I didn't see any barrier. I see the little guard hut on the side, and that's about it. And that guard hut looks like something that could be easily removed. So it's not a structure that they build to say it's permanently fixed. If it is that it needs to be removed in a day, it could be removed. You ain't want to do that. No, you want to put up a big. So it starts with that. And then when they allow you to get away with that, well, who knows what else you could put up? Because when other people say, well, look, Incheon put up a guard booth and they didn't tell him nothing, they allow him. Well, then the people in La Hoqueta, you remember a few months ago, when on the strip in La Hoqueta, they were putting up booths, concrete booths there to be able to vend. And I think it was the Ministry of Housing came and demolished it and told the people that they don't have permission to do that. It's the same dispensation. So if it is, you are willing to allow Mr. Ishmael to put up his structure, concrete structure, and he using red blocks, using concrete blocks, to put up this imposing structure there, then where do we draw the line? What else is he allowed to do? And then the people in Hoqueta, how are you going to explain to them? Well, yeah, we let Incheon do it, but we couldn't allow you all to do it. Because at the same token, the people of Hoqueta could say, well, we're not feeling safe either. So we're going to put up a guard booth. At the entrance to La Hoqueta, both entrances, we're going to put up a guard booth. They could do that. Anybody else for that matter could do that. So in case of emergency, what's going to happen? Yeah, ambulance, yeah. Where are we going to? But we get a call and have a man get a heart attack inside there. Which part? Let me see your credentials, because we can't trust these days all your criminals posing as all kind of thing, all they posing as police and all. So how I so sure you didn't see the ambulance? Yeah, but how I so sure you didn't thief the ambulance? Let me see your ID. In the meantime, while he explaining to the security who he is and that he legit, person life in danger, right? Apparently that's how it goes. That's how it works. The authorities need to let this man know he's not above the law, and that having money don't put you above the law. And you have people supporting that. 157 people shared that. 14,000 views. Sure, by the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if it doubled. But people would take interest to see how this plays out. Because if the authorities allow him to go ahead and do that, then anybody else could do it. And they will use that as precedent to say, well, until you let Incheon do it, so because Incheon have money, or so what? So what the rest of it is what? So we could get killed, but because Incheon and them have money, them could do it. And this is the kind of thing that fuels dissent and discord in the society. Then he's the same one who likes to talk about the 1%, and the 1% could do this, and the 1% could get away with that. Seeming to forget he too. You see, 1% has become synonymous with the Syrian Lebanese community. But it spans beyond that, right? The 1% is the persons with the deep pockets in the country who have economic power, like Mr. Incheon Ishmael. So when he wanted to talk about 1% and 1%, he too is a part of this 1%. It is not just about ethnicity. It has to do with economics, because in the US, when they talk about the 1%, they ain't talking about the Jews or any other ethnic group. It's the people who in a particular social class based on their bank account and the size of their bank accounts. And Incheon and Ishmael needs to understand that they are ordinary citizens in Bamboo who don't have a big business and 2 and 3 businesses and not driving fancy car. You have ordinary citizens living in Bamboo who have to get up at the crack of dawn and put the knapsack on their back and walk out the road and wait for a taxi and flag down a taxi. Right? He is not the mayor of Bamboo number 2. He is not the king. As well as much as he may fancy himself to be, he is not. And not simply because you take it upon yourself that the business community made that decision, and 99% of the villagers made that decision. So then all they could do whatever it is all they want inside Bamboo then, without getting the requisite state. So if it is you decide that you want to build a house, and whatever size and whatnot, where is town and country? Do all your work. Or they're getting paid every month to do a work. And you all are allowing too many of these illegal structures to get away and giving people license to do wrong things. And when you set precedent and you don't do what it is that you're supposed to do, and I am saying, if it is that the ministry doesn't follow through and make good on the promise to demolish that in 7 days, and when the people of La Hoqueta go back and put up their thing, don't tell them nothing, right? Because it's the same state land that they're going to build it on. And if you could allow Ishmael to do what he wants to do, then you should allow them to, because they could make the claim we're just trying to make an honest dollar. We could just trying to make a living. That's all. But this upstart, this anyway, let me keep it civil. Keep it civil. But you want to do a whole video and you want to look. I want to tell this, I want to see what the outcome of this is going to be. I want to see. But this was irked me with them. You see when they come and talk about the PNM. What does that have to do with the PNM? This has nothing to do with the PNM. The ministry officers have their work to do. Somebody lodged a complaint. The ministry came, they investigated, and they let you know this is what it is. There is a proper procedure to follow. You go and apply to the corporation. Corporation had to come and look, see whatever it is, and the corporation makes that decision. Not you. Because then if you get away with it, the people the people inside Valsay North couldn't file injunction too. Why didn't they file an injunction? Why? All the other places, Valsay South, I think it is, right? Where the late Helen Bagwan Singh used to live. As soon as you drive into Valsay, so right on the right-hand side, the house right there. We all know that house on the highway where you used to see every year Santa Claus on a swing tied up to the mango tree, and all the reindeer on top of the house and all of these different things. Well, normally it would have been up by now, but I guess because Mrs. Bagwan Singh was ill, they ain't doing that no more. But right there, why they don't want? Why haven't they put they not at risk? Aren't they at risk? Anyway, let me just get something here. Give me one moment here, folks. See, when you play with puppies, you get bitten by the fleas. And all who gave Inchan Ishmael, who gave him privilege in the past, and he figured now that he's bigger than everybody else. If you want if you feel that you have all the power, well, run for office. All the mouth you had in 2020, you're going up against Khadija Amin, and Khadija Amin is working and whatnot and stuff, and you will win the seat. And then you're back down like a little puppy. You talk to your wife and you talk to your family, and they want you to get involved in the politics and so on. Really? Yeah. Look at this here. Right. So I just wanted to put out a little advertisement here. Sandosity Organic Products. Let us help you gift this season with our gift basket, perfect for your loved ones, friends, or employees. And they deliver for a small fee of $20. So for $250, you can get this beautiful gift basket from Sandosity Organic Products. Looks like a very, very nice basket. I'll have the admin put up the ad on the debunking page. But if you're interested, you can call 754-3154 or 783-0054. So if you're looking for the ideal gift to give somebody for Christmas, you have something coming up in the office, you want to give out a hamper or so, this might be an ideal choice. So give Sandosity Organic Products a call today, 754-3154 or 783-0054, and get your gift basket. Yeah, it looks very nice. I think I might have to jump out myself and get one as well. But I said I'll have the admin put it up on the page. So 701763. Who paying for that, baby? Who paying for that? You're giving this man too much leeway, too much power. Ridiculous. Jenny. Morning.
I'm on to also not things to enter success stuff on things. My perception is my reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people. I see in this country when the authorities deal with people of Indian descent, it is totally different than when they deal with people of African descent. In the 80s and the 90s, agricultural officers went into that bamboo area there to.
Jen, I don't know what happened there. Call me back. Don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Let me see here. Call me back there, Jen. Let me just get this here. Jenny. Hello? What is Jenny here now? It's connected. Yeah. Jenny, you there? Listen, let me get this. 1 sec. Yeah, Jenny.
Yeah, you know?
Yes, go ahead.
As I was saying, my perception of reality. And when I see how people of Indian descent are treated in this country, it is totally different than how people of African descent is treated. In the 80s and the 90s, agricultural officers or public officers went into those areas that they call bamboo to tell the persons who were squatting there, as people of Indian descent, that those lands are state land, it's not even good for agriculture, and it's flood. They ran them out of there, those people who were squatting there, Indian people, run them out, and some were chased out with gun at gunpoint, and had to run for their lives. Nothing was done after that. Bamboo 1, 2, and 3 was allowed to develop. We know the history of it. There's somebody called Wesley Wiggins, I think, wrote saying from car thieves to legitimate businessmen. We all know the stories of bamboo with thief car. That area was allowed to be developed. And today we have one, H.R. Ishmael, who could tell we, he putting up a guard booth with armed guards, arming guns to protect bamboo because he said the residents of bamboo say they do that. The police come, whether it's militia, works police, whoever is police, came there and see that illegal structure because he had no document to show he built, and they leave. And he's given a warning of 7 days. And I concur with you, Dominic, that if in 7 days they don't remove that structure, you see them people in La Hocketa, I say them they pay back, they can't break them down. And I don't normally say the same because I fell up at this what happened in this country. Where some Indian descent want to make me feel or behave as if I'm a third-class citizen in this country that I born in. And they can make their money by any means necessary. Because we had the Dole Shadies. And we've heard that Dole Shady, a lot of businesses down in Chase Village and that area down there is from Dole Shady money. And we know what Dole Shady used to do. And we have all the other stories of them doing all kind of things. But once they make business with it and make money with it, it's quite okay. Forget the history. But you're running to beat them and do what they need to do with the Africans. Say, go run into Mova, Lavantil, Belmont, East West Corridor, and treated African people that they say are doing things that is illegal. The police don't have no grounds to deal with them. And they're correct if they enter crime. However, when we see it on the other side, I'm very upset this morning, Dominic. Because this man has been allowed Coco to sing a song. He take Coco to court. The same beaten that are set for a crime. A young African youth became an attorney there. beat them residents, friends, and family went out to, they get permission from the police that they could come out there, play a steel band and welcome them when they come out. International went on a tirade to tell me why we must celebrate African youth come out and beat them as a tribute. Because plenty does come out from a bamboo. He went on a rampage against that, and that was allowed. A Calypsonian who will tell our stories in Calypso. Sing about the incident, he take him to court, injunction. And he continues and he continues. And it seems as though the security system in this country is afraid to deal with people of Indian descent who are involved in alleged crime. Because then you hear the Hindu community talking, the Muslim community talking, and like everybody is afraid to do anything. But when it's an African person, because we're Baptist, we're ordinary Christian, you might be Sunday Adventist, whatever, it is easy. Again, going back to what I said, my reality, my perception is my reality. I talk it from that space. You always see the heavy hand of the law being dealt to the people of African descent. And when it comes to those of Indian descent, it's kid gloves. We need to be fair in this country because those things is what has been resentment. Ancient Ishmael is a citizen just like any one of us in this country. And there are laws in this country to be followed. Whether you have money or you don't have money. Whether you let beat them, you let bamboo by saying Westmore. Same law, it will change. And if again I say, this is me again, but my perception is my reality. If in 7 days' time, without interim having permission from the appropriate authorities to build that structure there, to put armed security in that, and the security of this country, the legal armed security of this country, just allow it to remain there. But then I realized that this country, me who born here, I have become a third-class citizen in this country because I'm not an Indian. I don't have money and I don't have position. Who don't like what I said this morning, they could take it. They could lump it and do whatever they want with it. Because my perception is my reality. Have a blessed morning, Dominic, and all those who love.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, good morning.
It's my darling.
Morning.
Ancient Ishmael, the rainbow baby. She's jumping every political party. MSJ, UNC, TNM. But she forgets that the money is not TNM money. So if TNM person, I will give him a cent to make a dollar. She's like ignorant, want to be confused, rainbow political flag. She never want. And that comes from insecurity. And the people do this is TNM. Sometimes I don't want to do it, Ricky Jaya, but a doctorate from UTT, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for them. But when soccer was big up, even yellows was ignorant and angry, it comes again from Dominic insecurity. There's no perfect human race, okay?